When you think about legendary attack jets, names like the A-10 Warthog, F-4 Phantom, or even the F-35 Lightning II probably come to mind. These are aircraft that have dominated headlines and battlefields alike, becoming icons of air power. But what if I told you there's another attack jet, smaller, lighter, and often forgotten, that played a vital role in history? Meet the A37 Dragonfly, also known as the Super Tweet. This unassuming little jet may not look as intimidating as its larger cousins, but don't let its size fool you. During the Vietnam War, the A-37 proved itself as a highly effective and versatile weapon of war. It was designed to be nimble, quick, and deadly accurate, making it perfect for close air support missions in one of the most challenging combat environments imaginable. However, despite its impressive performance, the A-37 Dragonfly often gets overlooked in discussions about legendary military aircraft. It's not as flashy as the Warthog or as famous as the Phantom, but its impact on modern warfare and its importance to the pilots who flew it cannot be overstated. In today's video, we'll be taking a closer look into the story of the A-37 Dragonfly. We'll explore its fascinating origins, its role in the Vietnam War, and why it became a favorite among pilots. By the end, you'll understand why this little jet has earned its place in aviation history, and why it might just be the greatest attack jet you've never heard of. When the U.S. Air Force needed a lightweight, reliable attack jet for the Vietnam War, they didn't start from scratch. Instead, they took a trainer aircraft, the Cessna T-37 Tweet, and transformed it into a versatile combat plane that would become the A-37 Dragonfly. The story of its development is one of ingenuity, necessity, and adaptation. The T-37 Tweet was originally designed in the 1950s as a simple and reliable jet trainer for new pilots. It was a small twin-engine plane with an open cockpit and a design that made it easy to handle. But as the Vietnam War escalated, the U.S. Air Force realized that they needed more than just heavy bombers and supersonic jets. They required a smaller, nimbler aircraft capable of providing close air support in the dense jungles of Southeast Asia. The T-37, with its compact design and maneuverability, seemed like a good candidate. Once this decision was made, engineers at Cessna went to work, modifying the plane to handle combat. They reinforced its wings to carry heavier weapons, like bombs, rockets, and machine guns. The engines were upgraded to General Electric J-85 turbojets, providing more power and allowing the Dragonfly to carry a payload that was surprisingly large for its size. The plane's fuel tanks were also expanded, giving it the endurance needed for longer missions. One of the most critical changes was the addition of armor to protect the pilot and vital systems. The cockpit and key parts of the plane were fitted with lightweight armor to improve survivability in hostile environments. These modifications turned the T-37 trainer into a fully functional attack jet, officially designated the A-37 Dragonfly. The A-37's development wasn't just about technical upgrades. It was about meeting a specific need in Vietnam. The dense jungles and unpredictable terrain made traditional fighter jets like the F-4 Phantom less effective for close air support. Larger aircraft couldn't operate from the small, rough airstrips near the front lines, but the A-37 could. Its compact size and low weight meant it could take off and land on shorter runways, often just dirt strips carved out in the jungle. Despite its small stature, the A-37 was a formidable machine. It could carry up to 6,000 pounds of weapons, including bombs, rockets, and miniguns. This made it ideal for attacking enemy positions, supporting ground troops, and even performing reconnaissance missions. The Dragonfly earned a reputation for precision, something highly valued in the Vietnam War, where civilian casualties were a constant concern. Interestingly, the A-37 also kept some of the T-37's best features, like its simplicity and ease of operation. This made it relatively quick to train pilots and maintain the aircraft, which was crucial in a war where time and resources were often in short supply. By the time it entered combat, the A-37 Dragonfly was no longer just a modified trainer. It was a symbol of adaptability and resourcefulness. It wasn't flashy, nor was it famous, but it got the job done. In the challenging conditions of Vietnam, that's exactly what the U.S. Air Force needed. When the Vietnam War escalated in the 1960s, the U.S. military faced a new kind of conflict. Thick jungles, hidden enemies, and unpredictable terrains created challenges that traditional heavy aircraft couldn't easily handle. The war demanded a lightweight, highly maneuverable attack jet that could operate in these harsh conditions. Enter the A-37 Dragonfly, a jet that quickly proved its worth in the most challenging combat scenarios. Modified with stronger wings, better engines, and the ability to carry a wide variety of weapons, the A-37 was deployed to Vietnam as part of the U.S. Air Force's plan to provide close air support for ground troops. During this period, close air support was a vital strategy in Vietnam. Soldiers on the ground often needed immediate air cover to defend against ambushes or to strike enemy positions hidden deep in the jungle. And the A-37 was ideal for this role, as it could take off from short, rough airstrips close to the battlefield, unlike larger jets that needed long, paved runways. This flexibility meant the A-37 could deliver support quickly when troops needed it most. Looking back, the Dragonfly's performance in Vietnam was very impressive. Its compact size and lightweight design allowed it to fly low and slow, which was critical for identifying and striking small, hidden targets in the dense jungle. Pilots often flew at altitudes of just a few hundred feet, giving them the visibility they needed to pinpoint enemy positions. Armed with a range of weapons, including bombs, rockets, and a 7.62mm minigun, the A-37 could unleash devastating firepower on the battlefield. Its ability to carry a diverse payload made it highly versatile, capable of destroying enemy bunkers, supply lines, and even small vehicles. Pilots praised the Dragonfly for its agility and precision, describing it as easy to maneuver even in the most intense combat situations. Well, one of the A-37's standout missions involved providing support during the infamous Tet Offensive in 1968. During this large-scale attack by North Vietnamese forces, the A-37 played a critical role in halting enemy advances and protecting Allied positions. Its ability to respond quickly and deliver pinpoint strikes earned it the respect of both pilots and ground troops. What set the A-37 apart from larger jets like the F-4 Phantom or the B-52 bomber was its ability to operate at low altitudes and slower speeds. While these larger aircraft were effective for high-altitude bombing or long-range missions, they weren't as suitable for close combat situations. Larger jets often overshot targets or struggled to navigate the jungle environment. In contrast, the A-37's smaller size and agility made it perfect for the close air support role. It could dive quickly, strike accurately, and evade anti-aircraft fire with ease. This capability saved countless lives, as ground troops could rely on the Dragonfly to hit the enemy without risking collateral damage. However, flying the A-37 wasn't without its dangers. The low-altitude missions that made the Dragonfly so effective also made it vulnerable to enemy fire. Small arms, machine guns, and surface-to-air missiles posed a constant threat to pilots. Now, despite its modifications, the A-37 wasn't heavily armored, meaning pilots had to rely on their skill and the jet's maneuverability to survive. Now, the pilots faced another challenge: fatigue. Missions in the A-37 were often long and grueling, requiring intense focus as they navigated the treacherous terrain. Combined with the constant threat of enemy fire, this made flying the A-37 both physically and mentally demanding. Despite these challenges, the A-37 Dragonfly left a lasting impact on the Vietnam War. It proved that a lightweight, cost-effective jet could hold its own in combat, even in one of the most difficult environments imaginable. For many ground troops, the sight of the A-37 overhead brought relief and hope, knowing that close air support was just moments away. The A-37's success also influenced the design of future attack aircraft. Its ability to operate from small airstrips, deliver precise firepower, and adapt to the needs of ground troops set a standard for future light attack jets. Now, before we go on to talk about its features and capabilities, take a moment to like this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. The A-37 Dragonfly might look small, but don't let its size fool you. Packed with advanced features for its time, this lightweight attack jet earned its place as a formidable force in military aviation. At the heart of the A-37 Dragonfly were its two General Electric J-85 engines. These engines, originally designed for supersonic fighter jets, gave the Dragonfly surprising speed and power. With a top speed of about 500 miles per hour, it was fast enough to evade some threats, but slow enough to excel in low-altitude missions. This combination of speed and agility made it perfect for close air support, where pilots had to navigate tight spaces and make precise attacks. Its lightweight design, just over 14,000 pounds when fully loaded, meant it could take off and land on short or rugged airstrips. This capability was crucial during the Vietnam War, where runways were often makeshift and conditions unpredictable. Despite its compact frame, the A-37 was no lightweight when it came to firepower. It could carry up to 6,000 pounds of weapons, including bombs, rockets, and napalm. The aircraft's 6 underwing hardpoints allowed it to adapt to a variety of missions, from destroying enemy supply lines to providing support for ground troops. The A-37 also came equipped with a 7.62mm minigun mounted on its nose. This rapid-fire weapon could unleash thousands of rounds per minute, making it a devastating tool against enemy forces. Its ability to deliver such precise and powerful attacks earned it the respect of both its allies as well as its enemies. One of the A-37's greatest strengths was its agility. Thanks to its small size and powerful engines, it could maneuver through tight spaces and perform sharp turns that larger jets couldn't match. Its roots as a trainer aircraft also worked to its advantage. Originally based on the T-37 Tweed, the A-37 was designed to be easy to handle, even for less experienced pilots. This simplicity was critical during wartime, when training time was limited and pilots needed to adapt quickly to combat scenarios. The A-37 was also built to be tough. Its reinforced airframe allowed it to withstand the stress of combat and the challenges of operating from less than ideal airstrips. This durability made it a reliable choice for both combat and counterinsurgency missions. The A-37 Dragonfly may not be as famous as some of its military counterparts, but its legacy is certainly undeniable. Designed as a lightweight attack jet, the A-37 proved to be a valuable asset in the Vietnam War and beyond. Its ability to deliver precise strikes, operate from short runways, and adapt to difficult conditions made it a favorite among pilots and commanders alike. After the Vietnam War, the A-37 continued to serve with distinction. While the U.S. Air Force eventually phased it out, its story didn't end there. Many Dragonflies found a second life in the air forces of smaller nations, particularly in Latin America. These countries used the A-37 for counterinsurgency missions, border patrols, and drug interdiction operations. The aircraft's simplicity, durability, and affordability made it ideal for these roles, especially in regions where military budgets were tight. Compared to other aircraft, the A-37 wasn't the most advanced nor the most powerful, but that was its strength. Its small size and low operating costs made it practical for nations that couldn't afford larger, more complex jets. For these countries, the Dragonfly wasn't just a plane, it was a lifeline, offering protection and stability during turbulent times. Despite its successes, the A-37 has largely been overshadowed by other aircraft, like the A-10 Warthog or F-4 Phantom. These jets, with their heavier firepower and dramatic media representation, often stole the spotlight. However, for those who flew and maintained the Dragonfly, it certainly holds a special place in aviation history. The A-37's legacy is a reminder that sometimes the greatest impact comes from the most unassuming tools. It may not be a household name, but in the world of military aviation, the Dragonfly remains a symbol of efficiency, reliability, and resilience. The A-37 Dragonfly, despite its incredible service record, is often forgotten in discussions about legendary attack jets. But why? Well, the answer lies in its lack of fame compared to bigger and more iconic aircraft. One reason the A-37 is overlooked is its size. Compared to giants like the A-10 Warthog or the F-4 Phantom, the Dragonfly is small and unassuming. People tend to remember aircraft that make a big impression, and the A-37 didn't have the same intimidating look or overwhelming firepower as its larger counterparts. However, its size was one of its greatest strengths, allowing it to operate in tight spaces and strike with precision. Another factor is its role. The A-37 was designed for close air support and counterinsurgency missions, which were vital but often unglamorous tasks. Unlike jets that performed high-profile bombing raids or air-to-air dogfights, the Dragonfly was a workhorse, focusing on supporting ground troops and engaging enemy targets up close. These missions were critical, but they didn't get the same attention as dramatic air battles or large-scale bombing campaigns. The A-37's service in smaller conflicts also contributed to its low profile. After Vietnam, the Dragonfly was used mainly by Latin American countries in counterinsurgency operations. These operations didn't make headlines the way larger wars did, so the aircraft never became a household name. Media representation is another reason the A-37 faded into the background. Movies, TV shows, and video games rarely featured the Dragonfly, instead focusing on aircraft like the F-16 or the F-14 Tomcat. Without media exposure, the A-37 missed out on the cultural recognition that other planes enjoyed. Finally, the A-37's reputation as a modified trainer certainly didn't help. Some viewed it as less impressive because it started life as the T-37 Tweed, an aircraft used to train pilots. While this background highlighted its versatility, it didn't give the Dragonfly the same mystique as jets purpose-built for combat. Despite these factors, the A37 Dragonfly remains a remarkable aircraft. It quietly played a vital role in history, proving that even the most unassuming machines can make a significant impact. It may not be famous, but for those who know its story, the Dragonfly is unforgettable. The A37 Dragonfly may not be a household name, but its impact on military aviation is one that cannot be denied. This lightweight attack jet proved that size doesn't determine strength. From its beginnings as a humble trainer aircraft to its evolution into a versatile warplane, the A-37 carved a unique place in aviation history. It stands as a testament to ingenuity and purpose-driven design. It reminds us that even the smallest players can make the biggest difference. As we look back on its history, we see not just an aircraft, but a symbol of adaptability and strength. It may not have the fame, but it will always have a legacy. And that's the story of the greatest attack jet you've probably never heard of. And with that, we've come to the end of today's video. If you love this and would like to learn more from the top channel on everything aircraft, do subscribe. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.